Hello, this is Danny from Epic Horror Fans. Today I'll be reviewing the movie Torment, 2014, starring Catherine Isabelle. So here's my review on that film. Um, Torment is it's not a good movie. I gotta be totally honest with you. The beginning of the movie is really good. The plot weakens as you go through the movie. Um, the problem with this movie is none of the characters' backstories are explained. Um, you never find out why the killer is the way he is. He's just a man with a burnt face, basically, wearing a mask that makes him look like Mickey Mouse, and it's probably one of the worst horror films I've ever seen because it's one of the most disappointing horror films I've ever seen. I was so excited for this movie that I talked about it on Epic Horror Fan. I was excited for it, and it was a total letdown for me. The beginning of the movie was so good. I was like, oh, this movie's gonna be awesome. And then the movie just goes, woo! It's like a giant bomb just exploding, basically, because the movie just gets horrible. If I was to rate this movie out of 10, I would give it a 4 out of 10. Catherine Isabelle's acting in this movie is really good. That's what I'm giving the 4 for, though. That it's just not that good of a movie. And the little kid in that movie, that Catherine Isabelle's character is taking care of, that kid is so freaking annoying. Okay, he is the most annoying kid I've ever seen in a horror movie ever. There's this funny scene with him and Catherine Isabelle's character is like, um, she's playing basically this new girlfriend of his father, basically, because his mother had died, right? And she was like, his girlfriend, and and then they got a new house together, basically. Um, and, and that little kid, I mean, he says in the movie to Catherine Isabelle, she's like, we can all love each other, and then the little boy's like, I don't love you. It's freaking hilarious. No, seriously. That kid is the most annoying kid I've ever seen in a horror film. And then there's this scene where basically he gets kidnapped by that evil Mickey Mouse guy. Everybody has a weird mask in this movie. There's a guy with a giant bunny mask. There's a piglet. There's a pig mask, and then there's the Mickey Mouse mask, and they're all wearing different masks in the movie, and there's so much stuff in this movie that's not explained. But there's this scene where like the Mickey Mouse guy, he's like torturing this guy, and he's like, I'm gonna kill your son unless you tell your son that you don't love him. And he has him blindfolded, and he's like, I don't love you. And the little kid's like, why? I'm like, because you're evil. No, but seriously, but yeah, it's pretty hardcore though. Like some of the stuff that happens in this movie, but like it's really not like, there's some really good scenes like where Catherine Isabelle fights with one of the masks people, in the movie. I'm not gonna give it away, but that scene was really good. But and she hits her with a rock, and it's a good scene, but the problem with the movie is it never explains any of the characters. It never explains why they kidnap children, or why they're like the freaking Charles Manson family, and why they take kids in and the kids just listen to them. Like it's almost like a children of the corn kind of thing going on, except with like an evil Mickey Mouse guy who recruits children and kills their parents, and then they go around like the Charles Manson family killing people. And it's really never explained who the masked man is, or how he got his burnt face, or who's his his accomplice that wears the mask that's revealed at the end of the movie. And that's where the movie really, that's where the movie went wrong, basically, because none of this stuff is basically explained in this movie. There's so many questions in this movie that you're scratching your head. Now, I don't know if they're going to make a sequel to this movie, but they almost set it up for a sequel, which I really hate, because they're either going to make a sequel to this movie or they're not. And since it's an indie film, it probably will never get a sequel. But none of the stuff is explained, who the masked man is or why he's got the burnt face. There's no backstory at all, And, a lot of people say they like that. They like mystery and not knowing why these people are like that. But for me, I always like seeing what's behind the mask. I always like an explanation. And to me, like, they didn't really explain why this character was so messed up, why he was traumatized, why he was like this. And I always like a backstory to a character, basically. I always enjoy finding out why that character is like that. In a film like Silence of the Lambs or other horror movies, basically. And this movie doesn't explain anything, and I hate that. Because I waited to the end of the movie hoping that I would get some kind of explanation why this character's like that, how he got his face burnt, and they could have showed it at the end of the movie, but they didn't, and they left the audience wondering what the hell is going on in this movie. And the only intriguing thing I liked about this movie was the beginning of the film was really good. It had a really good opening. And then it had just kind of like a predictable plot at the end. I thought that the masked people were going to be somebody you totally didn't expect. And it was the people that you would expect wearing the masks. And the people that you didn't know why they were masked. Like, there's no explanation. Like, there's no explanation for that masked Mickey Mouse freaking character who's evil. Like, and I hate that. So I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 10. And the only reason it's getting a 4 is because Catherine Isabel's acting was really good in this movie. The Mickey Mouse guy was alright. Everybody else just kind of fell flat for me. I wasn't intrigued by that little kid because he was so freaking annoying. And everybody else's acting in the movie kind of sucked, basically. But Catherine Isabel was really good in this movie. But the plot wasn't that great. It didn't explain anything, and I just felt like it was kind of weak. But I really did enjoy the opening of this movie. It has a really good opening and a really horrible ending. And that's what I hate. I hate horror films that have like really good openings and they have really weak endings that don't explain anything. This movie's kind of like a road that you're going down where there's no end, and they're not going to explain where that road's going, and that's this movie. So there you guys have it. That's my horror movie of the week, Torment. Check the movie out, Torment, 2014. Not that great of a movie. Giving it a 4 out of 10. Check it out if you want to. It's not like high on my list of movies that you should see, but check it out if you want to. Kind of original, but not that great. Have a good night, everyone.